Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our second episode of What Catholic School Didn't Teach You podcast.
Wow.
I know. And for those of you who are just joining us now, need a little refresher. I'm Jillian.
And I'm Katie.
And we are your hosts for this podcast. First thing we wanted to say is, wow, I don't even really have the words to articulate just how much it means to us that we got the response that we did from our first episode. We've had, what would you say, 90, 80?
93 listens.
93 listens.
Since a week and a half ago.
And just the responses from people I haven't heard from in such a long time that I really only thought that my mom and Katie's mom would be listening to this. So to get feedback from people like so kind, such kind feedback has meant the world to us. And I just want to thank you all so much for taking this journey with us.
Yes, thank you to those who reached out and let us know that it resonated with you. I know it was just us talking about ourselves for an hour, but we are so glad that our journeys resonate with people out there and that you can see yourself in us and feel comfortable hanging out with us for a little bit, for an hour out of your week. And thank you. I don't know if anybody was biting their nails and upset that there wasn't an episode last week. I kind of doubt it, but thank you if you were, for being patient. One of us had COVID, and so was down for the count. So thank you for your support and those of you that reached out and offered prayers and vibes and all the good stuff. Thank you.
So first, we'll do a little bit of a check-in, kind of how we're doing. I guess that's how we'll kind of start each episode, just like a little, so you continue to get to know us and all that. So Katie, how have you been other than feeling much better now, thankfully?
Feeling much better now. It was a tough week. It wasn't like the worst COVID. I mean, this is the third time I've had it now. So
Has it been the charm?
It was not the charm, but it wasn't the worst time I had it. Like it wasn't terrible. Like the fever was pretty low, broke after a few days. I was still able to do some work from home, which was good. And I slept a ton. I drank a ton of water. My skin's never looked better because I was just pounding water all day. But yeah, and now I'm back on my feet and we had a good weekend and back to work, went and ran mass, and today I went to soccer practice and went into the office. So yeah, back to a little bit normal. Still a little tired and a little stuffy, so I apologize if I sound weird or if I cough. I am sorry. But how was your week, Jilly?
It was good. I got to run a retreat yesterday at Newman, and it was called New Year Save Me. So like the idea that you don't need to reinvent yourself to meet your goals for the new year, or if you don't even need to set any goals if you don't want to, but just how do you start this new year on a positive note and help yourself become the best version of yourself that you could be. And it was really wonderful. I needed a vocational win more than I thought more than I thought I did.
Amen.
I think I got more out of this time than the students did. But I'm definitely very grateful for that. Also, fun fact about me. I don't know if I even told you this, Katie, but Groundhog's Day is one of my favorite days of the year. And this year,
Really?
your girl's going to Gobbler's Knob.
Oh my God.
We're going to Puxatawny, Pennsylvania to see
Jillian.
Puxatawny Phil in the flesh. And I am elated.
How are we friends? How are we friends?
Wait. So
why is this? Why I have a lot of questions. I'm sorry. We're gonna have to change the topic of the episode.
When this episode, yeah, oddly enough, because today's topic's on friendship. But so when you hear this, when this goes live, I will be on my way to Puxatawny to see Phil.
Why
and
is this your
I'm
favorite?
going with like 9 of my friends, and we have matching hats and sweatshirts, and we have weather names like Phil's inner circle. So
I'm
my
sorry,
weather name
what
is Tornado Tutak, and I could not be more excited. So I will give a full rundown next week. So stay tuned. So yeah, so excited for Phil Week.
I have so many questions. I have so many thoughts. Can we get context as to why this is your favorite? You can't call it a holiday. Also, this is not a holiday. It is not truly. I mean, to you, I suppose it is a holy day, but
It's a
this is
holy day of
not a
obligation.
holiday. All right.
Yes.
If I don't get my birthday off for President's Day, Groundhog's Day certainly isn't a holiday. So, but why is
Oh
this
my
your
gosh.
favorite day of
I'm gonna,
observance?
well, you know what? This will be a perfect segue into our topic for the day
Oh,
because
great.
I've always loved ground. Did you ever hear like the groundhog song when you were younger? Like groundhog, groundhog, come on out and play.
What?
No, no,
No,
you don't
Jill.
know that song. So I grew up
No.
singing the song. It's a beautiful February day. The sun is
There's no such
shining
thing
and
as a
the
beautiful
clouds are blue.
February day.
Yes, there
That's
is.
no,
Anyway,
no, there
anyway,
isn't.
I've loved Groundhog's Day. But then when I went to college, my friends, Amanda and Tina, were like very much loved Groundhog's Day. And it became a friendship ritual because, it's I think we're starting at 1 in the morning. It's
Gosh,
crazy. Like it's a whole thing. So we if we were in the same place, we
Jill.
would all wake up and watch the stream, or we would FaceTime together or Zoom together and watch the stream. And it became like a friendship thing that I really enjoyed. One time planned a whole girls' weekend around it and made sure we were all together for this event. And now now we just love Groundhog's Day. And my friend Claire, shout out to Claire, and look up Claire's creations on Instagram because once you see, I will post on our I will post on our Instagram. Once you see the hats and the clothes that we will be repping as a group, I love going places squad deep. There's going to be 9 of us in matching outfits, and I am so excited. You're going to want your own Phil hat, and I'll tell you where to get it because it's fantastic.
Every single thing I learn about you makes me question not only my sanity, but the sanity of how are we friends? I love you so much. You're one of my best friends in the
Love
world.
you too. I just bring the joy. I bring the joy to your
Oh my
life.
gosh.
I can't believe you don't know the groundhog song.
I think you dreamt the groundhog song. I
I'm
don't
gonna need Joan to
think that's
like and subscribe on our Instagram and tell us what's going on. You there to back me up on this.
I don't believe you that that's a real thing. Well,
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you, Jill, and
Thank
I am
you.
so happy you get to celebrate your favorite day with a lot of your favorite people. And on that note, today's topic is friendship, more specifically, female friendship, because we are women and we can speak from that experience. And also, that is something that is often taken for granted or overlooked in our society at large, but certainly within the Catholic world as well. Friendship in general, but female friendship too.
Yes, for sure. So if we're talking about I when I was reflecting on this topic, a lot of things came to mind. I think the first thing was this loneliness because with friendship there comes loneliness if for the lack of. But then also just thinking about one what friendship means to me or what how I would define it, I think has really changed throughout my life. I think that when I was younger, if I was alone, like physically alone, I thought that I was failing as a person. I didn't find joy in being alone, especially when I got like around high school and that's kind of when I don't want to say social media like we know it now, but I had the cell phone
Yeah.
finally and
Yeah,
you know,
iPhones came out when we were in high school.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So when you would see other people have plans and I would be home by myself, that just put me in a very dark place. And I really didn't understand or see the importance of being alone and what friendship meant. Friendship isn't just having literally a person in your physical presence all the time. And I was always craving to find that kind of friendship where I was their best friend and they were my best friend and we would do everything together. And thinking about it now, it's more of like a very codependent thing. But if you're someone who thought that being alone equated that you were less than, in my brain, having that one person would make all of that go away. And I searched and searched and searched for that and eventually found it. I say I have that in my husband, but I think now I'm able to understand friendship as someone that really sees and loves me at my core. And that is such a gift and
Hmm.
really not something that many people experience, unfortunately. And I see most deeply the ways that God shows up for me through the people that God has put in my life. So I think that's just been something that I've been thinking a lot about over the past couple months, really, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I have a very similar understanding, especially that idea of how can God communicate with you through the people God puts in your life. And that could be in a variety of different ways. But I know I would not be the person I am today. I would not have the relationship with my faith I have today, or the relationship I have with the world, or the way I view others if it weren't for my friends, specifically you, Jill, and my friends we made at BC, my friends from college. I view friendship as a guidepost, as a source of strength, and as your chosen family. I
Mhm.
have been blessed with a lot of wonderful friendships throughout my life in a beautiful community. My parents moved to Ohio before I was born, leaving behind everybody that they knew and bringing their young children to this place that they knew no one, and struck out on their own and kind of showed me and my brothers the beauty of your chosen family and surrounding yourself with people who might not be the exact same as you, but who challenge you and who are moral guideposts for you and who help you find your strength in moments of distress and darkness and will surround you with love and pour that back into you. I mean, similar to you, Jill, making friends was not always easy. It's not easy still because making friends is tricky and a weird, vulnerable thing to do. When I was a kid, I was super shy, painfully shy. Like, even as a teenager, even into college, it took me a long time. I'm still like that on occasion. Like, if I meet somebody that, like, if I run into somebody from my past, it's like I kind of revert back to that as like a defense mechanism. But I was so shy that it was hard to make friends sometimes. And I had my two, three best friends within that friend group that my parents had built in our community. And so I didn't really feel the need to branch out and meet new people because I had them. And it worked out. They were the maids of honor at my wedding. So, hey. And I've been thinking a lot about this in recent years because I've moved a lot. And each time I've moved, it's meant finding a new community. But each time I moved, I kind of had a built-in safety net, right? So moved to college, school, roommates, built-in safety net. Moved to Boston. If I didn't meet anybody at school, I at least had my family and my cousins who were about my age. That was fine. I moved home to Toledo. Again, I had my family there. I had my friends from my previous life there. And then I made friends through school. And man, working in a school is such a safety net of friendship. Like, you don't really understand how, like, how important those people are going to become to you.
Yeah.
I moved to South Bend and Jake was already there and he had friends, which became my friends, so safety net. And then working in a school, I met some of my newest, closest friends, which was great. So lately, I've been thinking about we moved to Ithaca. We know nobody. I'm no longer working in a school. There is no safety net. And making friends as an adult is
Mm,
so weird and it's
yeah.
super lonely and it's super isolating. And it's hard to find that right combination
Hmm.
of like, we get along, we have similar interests, we have similar values, we like to do the same things, we're about the same age, we are in the same, like, there's like a weird code that you all, that like everything has to line up so it feels so right.
Hmm.
And like, it doesn't have to be that way.
Right.
But just even going out and like finding somebody or some place where people in their 30s hang out without kids but are married and like It's so weird and it's so hard. And sorry, this is a long-winded way for me to say I've been meditating a lot on Ruth and Naomi recently. And we actually had Ruth 1, 16 through 17 read at our wedding, partly because we both love the idea of the important roles that chosen family play in your life. Your God will be my God, your people shall be my people. But I've been thinking a lot about how hard that was for Ruth to do that. And how scary that must have been for her to, her husband is gone. Her sister-in-law's heading back to her people. Her mother-in-law's like, I can't give you anything. And Ruth is like, I'm gonna do this. You're my friend. You're my chosen family. Your God shall be my God. Your people shall be my people. And we're gonna figure this out together. And how, even when she didn't or couldn't or didn't know how to trust God, she could trust Naomi to get her there. You know, she trusted
Mhm.
Naomi. And Naomi eventually helped her. They moved together and they found a community, and Ruth meets Boaz and they fall in love, and the rest is history. And I've been meditating a lot on, okay, I'm struggling to trust God right now because I'm not gonna lie, I'm super lonely, you know? I miss my friends, I miss my family. I don't have anybody. But all Ruth had was Naomi, and all I have is Jake. And so meditating a lot on like, okay, I'm really struggling to trust God right now, but I do trust Jake. So we're gonna do that
Right.
and pray that like Ruth, it's going to lead to community and all that comes with it.
Yeah.
Sorry, that
That's
was
a
a
no.
that was long.
No, that's okay. That was such a beautiful comparison. I think like the journey that you're walking and what Ruth walked. I think that's why having the saints as friends, as companions to help, give us strength in these types of moments is really important. And yeah, it's hard to feel lonely, especially once you've made friends before. And that's kind of where I have hard time is that I'm like the conductor of the no new friends train. I
Choo choo.
after after our after grad school, I halfway through, mostly because I was so burdened with the grief I was feeling with the loss of my grandparents
Hmm.
that I physically could not give of myself to another human being because I could barely stay afloat on my own. That I literally decided that the second year of grad school, I was not making another friend. That all if you knew me last year, good for you. If you didn't, I'm sorry, you're not gonna know me now.
We
And
really got in under the wire there.
yeah, no, you were in for the beginning. Um, but I know it's I look back and like I know I had to do that for myself, but I know I missed out on meeting a lot of great people and learning a lot about like from them
Hmm.
because of the boundaries that I the hard and fast boundaries, but mostly because again, this idea of not only being alone but being rejected, the fear of putting yourself out there, and especially when if you're in this a time of grief or in a time of pain and you're afraid that if you show someone that pain and you show
Hmm.
someone how much you're struggling that they're not going to want anything to do with you, they're going to be like, whoa, let's go crazy, and they're going to leave. And but as much as I was afraid of loneliness, I even equally if not more was afraid of rejection, so I shut myself off. And I think that's something too that I have to press myself into being more open to because sometimes God does reveal God's self to us through people. And if we're telling someone that we have no time for them, you know, we're losing out on so much grace and so much wisdom that we could be receiving from other people if we allowed ourselves to be vulnerable and to be seen, because there's really nothing, I think nothing better in this world than to be fully seen by another person.
Hmm.
And my friends and Rich, and I mean my mom was my first best friend and my nan was like where they were my first best friends, and they modeled for me that you show up for your people, and that, this, you don't play games. Like I find it hard for me. I got a haircut last week and I hated it, and I just sat there and wanted just left and just
By the
look
way,
like Lord Farquaad now. But
looks fantastic. It looks
oh, thank
beautiful.
you.
You are beautiful. Leave it
Thank
alone.
you. Thank you. Thank you. So I have a hard time standing up for myself. But if like that happened to one of my friends or my family, like I would be right in that woman's face, like, fix this. This is crazy. I can't, but I have a hard time doing that for myself. But I find so much joy in being there for people and being someone that other people can rely on. And I think that's so beautiful when you find those people that are able to hold that and reciprocate it in a way that resembles God's love. And I've felt that so much over the last couple of years, in the times where I struggled to trust God in, why things were happening to me, or how could this have happened, and where are you, or you're supposed to be protecting me, who's protecting me. And it took me a while to realize, maybe God didn't show up for me in the way that I wanted, but you sent your people, you sent your army here to take care of me, and to literally pick me up and walk me through the way that, you guys did when my grandparents passed away. You guys picked me up out of that hole. And Rich, when I got sick over the last like couple of years, was such a pillar of strength for me. And so are all of my friends and family, that I can't look back on all of it and not see God's hand in it.
Mm.
And it's hard when you're in it. It's harder to see it, which is why I think at times that you're able to take that step back and be like, okay, broaden what you want me to see, and like, where are you in this moment, and asking that question.
Yeah. It reminds me of that story that, you hear talked about, where it's like a man is on his roof in the middle of a hurricane and the
Yes.
flood rise up and
Mm-hmm.
he's like, ah, God will save me. And a guy in a speedboat comes by and he's like, no, I'm waiting for God. And a guy in a canoe comes by and he's like, ah, I'm waiting for God. And finally a helicopter comes by and he's like, ah, I'm waiting for God. And then he gets to heaven. And he's like, God, he never showed up. And he's like, what are you talking about? Like,
Right.
I tried,
Absolutely.
my guy.
Yeah. Right. I said all the things and you said no, thank you.
That's kind of that was what was playing in my head when you were describing what friendship has been for you. And you've been both the man on the roof and the man in the helicopter, or
Mm.
the woman in the helicopter, or whatever you would like.
That's why I don't know. I just think it's so great that we have friendship. We are created as relational beings. Like we
Mm-hmm.
crave being able to share life with others in whatever way that we can. And more specifically, getting, into female friendships, that has been like the cultivation of female friendships, especially with all of the hardships specifically that women face. And now that I'm married and hopefully will have a family of my own one day, and then it was just Christmas, just really thinking about Mary and Elizabeth, and just the way,
Mm.
especially Elizabeth, just in general, just how much infertility issues that are so prevalent in today's world. I look at Elizabeth, and you see someone that wanted a baby so much and tried so hard for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that, when it finally happened for her, she was able to have such a beautiful moment with Mary,
Mm.
that I just feel another woman could, even if Mary didn't specifically go through that herself,
Right.
but having someone there that could empathize and just sit with you in that moment in a way that no one else could. I
Mm-hmm.
just love that image of the two of them together. I've just been thinking a lot about that.
Can I quote a tweet real quick about the visitation?
Please.
It's one of my favorites. It comes up every well, it was 2 years old, but I send it to my mom all the time, every time I get a chance. It's at Caitlin Scheiss. She's she says every discussion of quote biblical womanhood unquote should include the fact that in Luke 1, two pregnant women celebrate their new motherhood by passionately discussing the coming overthrow of every earthly empire. And that's my favorite. It's my favorite because that's exactly what they're doing.
Yes. Oh
They
my
get together and
gosh.
they're like, the low shall be high and the last shall be
Yeah.
first. And
Yes. Oh
I
man.
I agree. And I think, that's part of what makes this so powerful is because, we can do something as women that men can't. And there's both a stigma around it and a celebration of it. You
Hmm.
know, don't talk about the fact that you can create life, but also celebrate the fact that you can create life.
Right.
And if you create life too early or out of marriage, that's bad. And don't talk about how you get to the point where you're
Yes.
creating new life,
Yep.
but also be grateful that it's happening and
Hmm.
that you can because some women can't, some women can, and you never know
Hmm.
which is going to be which. And I think of Mary and Elizabeth, where a lot of people, Mary's coming to her cousin Elizabeth, and Mary's 13 and she's not married. And she's saying that God knocked her up. And she's coming to Elizabeth with kind of a crazy tale, A,
Hmm.
and B, she's pregnant out of wedlock.
Hmm.
And where anybody else would have been like, get out of here, get off my front, you're crazy, you've lost your mind, you are sleeping around. Elizabeth immediately believes Mary and knows that Mary's telling the truth and celebrates this with her as this beautiful miracle, which it is, just
Hmm.
like Elizabeth and John are this beautiful miracle. And for very different reasons, they are beautiful miracles, able to celebrate each other and come to each other and say, isn't this crazy? Let's throw the government over. Social justice for all. But they're able to relate to each other on something on a level that you, like you were
Hmm.
saying, that other people really can't. And
Yeah.
I feel very blessed to have a fair amount of friends who are guys. I feel blessed to have a fair amount
Hmm.
of friends who are women. And I don't think it's a surprise to anybody that those conversations look different
Hmm.
because when I'm talking about whatever struggle I'm going through with my period, like
Yeah.
it's I probably could talk to that with
Hmm.
my guy friends if I really wanted to.
Yeah.
I don't think they really want to, or even if they do genuinely want to, have that level of understanding.
Right.
Or even just, I don't know, anything, like anything about being a woman.
Yeah. It was so funny, Katie, at your wedding. Well, at the rehearsal dinner, Rich and I went, and our friend Abby was there. And this was the first time I had seen Abby in quite some time. And it's just so wonderful when you have the long distance friendships are although they're tough because you want to see that person all the time like you used to, but when you do see them, it's like no time has passed and you can just start going into conversation.
Jump right in. Yep.
And literally that's what happened. And what we were just talking about, like work, life, whatever. We're going into blood panels of what was the next the levels that you got checked and what were they like and how are you feeling and all this stuff. And Rich was in shock. He was like, afterwards he said to Abby and then to me later on, I love your friendship so much, like all of you just are able to cut out all the BS small
Cut the
talk. And
crap. Yep.
yeah, you just are, you show up for each other and you have those conversations no matter where you are, surrounded by his whole family, like talking about my blood paddle, like just important stuff. Because I needed to have that conversation, I guess, more than I thought I did. And
With people
I
who understand and who have been through it.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's just what a gift
Hmm.
that is, for sure. And I keep, as we're like talking, I keep thinking in my head about, what about the person who's sitting here listening to us and being like, I want this so bad,
Mm.
but I don't have that in my life right now. And what do we say to that? And what I would say is, being someone, again, we both, it took a long time, unfortunately, to have this. I would love to know what would have happened if, I had this type of friendship when I was younger. And I know like I said, like my mom, my grandparents took that role. And that's why I'm so excited now that I have two sisters from my husband's sister and my brother's wife, Kayla and Catherine, because they're built-in female friends. They're not going anywhere. So
They
I
can't run.
was so excited my whole life that for I was like, I really hope the person I marry has a sister and that we could be best friends. And like because she won't go anywhere. She can't leave because even if she wants to, she can't. And stay with Kayla. And like they're both so wonderful. But what I would say to you is just trust in the divine timing of everything. And I know that might be like, oh please, like hush. But seriously, because I don't think that 12-year-old Jillian could have handled it. I don't know. I don't think I was ready in that moment either to receive, to be seen like this and to be loved like this. I think you need to there's there's parts that you need to then be okay in yourself to be able to accept that kind of love and accept that kind of friendship into your life. I think my college friends have really helped, especially that we've all come to still our friends now. They have helped me so much to come out of my shell and pull that out of me whenever I want to revert. And I will literally always be grateful for the people that they're in your life, even if they're only in for seasons or
Hmm.
however the case may be. And maybe you might not see it now, but a person in your life, the friendship may grow. You will see it differently in a couple of years. If you would have asked me before doing this episode if I had friends in high school, I probably would have said no. But because the way that I wanted friendship wasn't what I was receiving. I did have friends. I did have people to hang out with, but it just because it looked differently than what I was expecting or what I wanted, I felt like I was completely alone. So something I would say too is just maybe shift your perspective, broaden what you think friendship is, and maybe be able to meet someone in a different light that maybe you weren't seeing before, or let God in on that. I what I've also found is that you can't put people in the place in your life that God belongs. And that was another one of my hugest, my biggest problems growing up,
Hugest.
and even hugest. I'm going to stay with that one. Hugest problems. And it still is kind of is today. One singular friend or person cannot be your end all be all. You
Hmm.
cannot put that on them because they cannot absorb that. They cannot take on that role for you because we're humans. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to do stuff that upsets one another. It's bound to happen because we're human. But God is the only person that you can truly rely on and be that end all be all spot in your life is God's. And when you put people on that pedestal and you put people on in that spot that God needs to be in your life, that is when for me I have seen the most heartache and the most disappointment because I held this person up too high and inevitably was hurt.
Hmm.
But and it wasn't their fault. It wasn't. And it took me so long to understand that. A lot of it had to come with my own work. I had to do my own work to see why I was craving that, what I was lacking in my own life, or the self-love I needed to have first and show up for myself before I was able to do that for other people. If you feel alone, maybe start doing some inner work for yourself. Take account of places in your life that maybe you need some healing or you need to love yourself more. And then maybe by doing that, you will attract that kind of energy and friendship from others. But does that make any sense?
Yeah, I thought that was
That was kind of
beautiful.
long-winded.
No, no, no. That was lovely. Thank you. Yeah, I think that's great advice.
Um,
I will say, we talk about how God uses your friends and God
mhm,
uses people in your life. If you are somebody who's like, I have friends, we can't talk about faith, or I have friends, but they don't understand, they don't get it. I get that. That's okay. They don't need to. You do. And they get you. And as long as that's the truth, then that's the truth. Then that's fine. I have many, not to brag, but I have more than one friend. Pretty popular. Pretty popular. A lot of my friends have different ideologies, have different faiths, have different perspectives on what it looks like to be a spiritual person, what it looks like to be a Christian, what it looks like to be a Catholic, what it looks like to be a human. The variety is what helped me grow in my
Mm,
faith
yeah.
because the advice that Jilly gives me is not going to be the same advice that my other friend might give me. Or that isn't going to be, that friend who would call themselves spiritual but not religious, right? That advice is going to be completely different than the advice my devout Catholic friend, like super devout Catholic friend might give me, which is going to be different from the advice my pseudo, just like kind of like, hey, I'm just here living life, trying to be the best person I can be. All that advice is going to be completely different. And the way that they connect to God, to their spiritual life, is going to only help me in the way that I'm going to connect with my spiritual life. So don't be afraid to ask, even if you're sitting here like, hey, my friends don't get it, they don't agree with me. That's good. That's good. You don't want everybody to agree with every single thing you say
Yeah.
99.9% of the time. That's not how you grow. How you grow is when you say, hey, this is what I think. What do you think? Can we talk about it? Can I learn something from you? Can you learn something from me? Can we learn something from this friendship that's going to make us stronger as individuals, which in turn is going to make the friendship stronger?
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
can
that's a
cut
great
that.
point. No, no, absolutely not. This is all important things to think about. I just keep picturing my younger self. If I would have told younger me that I would be in a position where I'm turning people away, that the friendship
Friendship
train
doors are
is left
closed.
the station, I would be like, in what world are you in the position to turn away a friend?
You met
Like,
me and you were like, I
done.
don't need any more friends.
Done.
She's too much for me to handle.
Yeah,
She's
absolutely
incredibly
not.
needy.
Yeah. Oh gosh, stop it. Um, I just hope that the person that's listening that is in that position, or also, you mean, Katie, you were saying that right now you're in a,
Yeah, that
like
person's
you're,
me. I'm
yeah,
lonely.
you know, but the thing is, yes, you're lonely in that you don't have physical people in your vicinity that you can hang out with,
Hmm.
but you
Yeah,
have me, and you
I
have
know. This
so
has been
many
a joy.
people that love you, and
Oh, shucks. This isn't Katie
I want
therapy.
to be your friend. No, and it's not you, because I'm picturing so many people. I've moved so much myself.
Hmm.
So a lot of my friends too, I don't see all the time.
I
There's
know.
finally I have like my college friends that now that I moved back to Philly where I went to school, I have all of them. And that has been such a godsend because moving again the fourth time, I couldn't it's hard like you said when you get older, like I couldn't even think about having to put myself out there again. Like it's just, especially when I've done it so many times and I have those people that are what I need. I don't need more of those, you know.
No,
um
yeah. I
but
just need somebody to
but
get coffee with. As if anybody
right.
is listening in the Ithaca area and you want to get coffee, that's all I want. I'm
Yeah.
not looking for any more bridesmaids. I'm already married. I
Yeah,
can make friends now
people in
because I'm
Ithaca,
not putting a wedding on.
right.
So it is
Yeah.
hard though when you're so community minded
Mm-hmm.
and which Jake and I are, and I think you are too, Jill. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people are, especially in the Catholic world, because that's what we're raised in and what we're raised
Mm-hmm.
on. It's hard to then be like, well, gonna go start my own community and then move somewhere where you don't know anyone, where you don't have anyone, where you don't really have outlets to like build that. And there are outlets.
Mm-hmm.
I just haven't found the right one yet, and that's okay.
Right.
But it is hard to be a community-minded person in a place where you're like, I know nobody. I'm
Mm-hmm.
starting from scratch. This kind of sucks. It is a little isolating. It is a little lonely. And so if you're going through that as well, I hear you. We'll be your friend. I'll be your friend.
Yeah. Yeah, I've gotten the long
Email us.
distance friendship game down. Okay.
Feels
The
really
train has
good.
stopped. I'm opening. You could tuck and roll.
She pulled
Getting
the
there.
emergency brake a couple
Yeah.
years ago.
All of this to say, be grateful for the people that are in your life, both your chosen family and
Hmm.
actual family. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there, to be vulnerable and make new friends if that's what it is that you are searching for. Or
Make new friends and keep the old. One is
yes,
silver and the other's gold. Girl Scouts of America.
love that. I was in the Girl Scout. I didn't know that was happening. I thought you were just saying something nice.
Oh, I wrote that. I wrote that.
Yeah, I would have believed you if you didn't
Trademark
say.
Katie Dillabaugh.
But yeah, also, and I kind of said it before, and I think this is where I was kind of going, but then I kind of got sidetracked. I'll get better at this as we continue doing more podcasts
You're doing
to
great.
get to the point and not be as long-winded.
This is what
But
editing's for.
um,
Take out in
yeah,
post.
true. This is my turn to edit people, so I'm sorry in advance if this sounds bad. Um, but also find the value in the silence. Find the value in enjoying your own company. Once I was able to do that for myself, the game changed. It took a very long time, but the game, I am a delight. Okay. No one is
Like,
going to love me like
right.
I can. Although sometimes I can be mean to myself, and I'm trying to be better at it. But you are given one body, one mind, one heart, one soul, and that's it. That's all you have in this life. Get in tune with yourself. Spend time with yourself. Take yourself on a date. I used to think that I would never be in a Panera or wherever by myself. And I thought, like, what are people thinking? And what do I do? No, just be. Listen to pop a headphone in, listen to our podcast, take yourself on a little date, or no podcast, just be in the silence.
Yeah.
But find things that fill you that you could do on your own time. That type of self-care and that type of self-love is so important because the
I feel
best friend
like
you'll ever
taking
have is yourself because yourself's not getting anywhere going for away from you.
go
Yourself's not
to
gonna deny you.
Panera, take self on date. Right? Anything else? Love, love myself.
Next episode, Casey will be like, I went to Panera and I
I
found a
went
friend.
to Panera. We do have a Panera in Ithaca. We don't have a
I love,
Starbucks, but we have a Panera.
yeah, I love Panera.
With on that note, we can wrap things up.
We
We
will
thought
end in
it
prayer.
would be nice to do a little prayer. The Holy Friendship Novena. This is part of the Holy Friendship Novena. It's not the whole thing. This is specifically to St. Ignatius of Loyola and St. Francis Xavier. So, if you want to pray with us, that would be great. Or if you want to turn us off, that's fine too. We don't like you that much anyway. That's not true. We love you. You're our best friend. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. O holy St. Ignatius of Loyola and St. Francis Xavier, I implore your intercession, along with all the angels and saints in heaven, to pray for me and all those I love as friends. Pray we can elevate our relationships to holy heights as you did, by basing them in love of God and obedience to God. All in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. In the name of the Father,
Amen.
Son,
Father, Son, the
Holy
Holy Spirit.
Spirit.
Amen. Thank you all for joining us for our second episode. I hope you have a wonderful week. Make good choices.
And most importantly, happy Groundhog's Day.
Happy Groundhog's Day. We love you, Phil. Give us an early spring, please. I'm cold.
Goodbye, our friends. We'll see you next week.
Bye.